Hey everybody, Steve here, the retired hobby tech guy, and it ends up that today we're going to be talking about something a little different today. It's kind of toned down the volume a little bit, and we're going to talk about weight loss, the elephant in the room. If I can put the pun in there, calories do matter. And I just want to give some stories and accounts because I've had a number of people send me emails and PMs asking me about how to gain weight, but more so is how to lose weight, how to lose that body fat, how to get fit and toned, and things like that. My own fitness journey has been pretty interesting. Involved in fitness at an early age, did sports and stuff like that. I was the skinny kid. And when I joined the military in basic training, it ends up that, what was I? I was 6 foot and I was 155 pounds. So yeah, I was the stick boy. And when I got to basic training, they looked at me and the drill sergeant looked at me and said, "Hey, you need to get in the front of the line at the chow hall." And then they doubled up my food portions, but they still only gave me like 5 minutes to eat. So, I had to do more with less, and it worked out because after 2 months of basic training, I went from 155, and at the end, I was like 175, something like that, 175, 180, somewhere around there. So, yeah, the clothes I showed up with, and here's the story. The clothes I went to basic training in, when I left home, I had some friends drop me off at the MEP station, and I had sneakers, a pair of socks, the underwear I was wearing, my wallet with like $20, a wife beater tank top, a jean jacket, and my glasses, and that was it, and some change in my pocket. That's what I left to go join the Army. It was just kind of an interesting thing. And so, yeah, I was pretty skinny, and I came back from basic training because after that I had some time. Basic training, came home, and boom, I had gotten big. It was just, and doing physical fitness training all the time. So that was my big induction into the world of physical fitness. So we're talking about doing push-ups, sit-ups, we're talking about doing log drills, obstacle courses, road marches, with weighted rucksacks and all that stuff. And it really became a thing because I kind of enjoyed that. So as I progressed on through my military career, I love doing PT, or physical fitness training. I ended up being a physical fitness trainer. I loved giving PT. I ended up taking classes in nutrition and exercise, and I was one of those people as an additional duty to take the people that failed their military PT tests, and I would work with them and get them to lose weight and pass the test, and or both. So, I learned a lot during that time. That continued on. I did a career in the military for 20 years. And then after I got out, I let myself go. To be honest with you, I let myself go. And I ended up, by that time I was 6'2", and I was the skinny fat guy. So in other words, I ended up getting a belly, kind of a pot belly, but I was still skinny. I had no arms. I had no shoulders, no chest. I had a jiggly butt, and it ended up, it wasn't good. It looked like trailer trash. And it just, I wasn't in a good place mentally, spiritually, physically. I was just kind of a mess. And what happened was I wasn't forced. I didn't take the physical fitness training that I was doing in the military and continue it on after I retired. Just kind of let myself go, and then I had problems with mental issues and PTSD and all that happy, fun stuff. Thank you, Uncle Sam, for that gift. But then I got around to it, and I ended up years later looking at myself in the mirror, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm ugly. I'm not handsome, but I mean, my body was ugly. I know I'm not pleasing to look at. At least my wife likes me, so that's all that matters. But I'm generally, I don't consider myself a handsome person. But I was ugly in the fact that I had let myself go. My ass was jiggly. My stomach was sticking out. I had skinny arms, no chest. It was sunken on top. Didn't have any mass. And I was just like, I wasn't doing good physically. I was having problems. and I was like, I've got to gain some weight. So we're going to get to the weight loss part, but we have to get to where I lost that weight, but then I also gained muscle, and then I bulked up, and then I lost weight again. Yeah, kind of a weird thing. So anyway, it ends up that I decided to do a body recomp, or what was considered a body recomp these days. All natural. Ended up getting knee deep back into nutrition and nutrition plans and counting calories, which people are like, oh, it's bad to count calories. For some reason, the elephant in the room is it's like, no, you don't need to count calories. You need to do this. You need to do intermittent fasting, or you just need to eat organic foods or healthy foods and no processed foods. And it's like, yeah, I mean, healthy foods are better for you. I don't know about organic. I think that's kind of a scam, but it's neither here nor there. I ended up exercising a lot. I ended up portioning my rations of my food and having a nutrition plan, and I got knee deep into nutrition. And so when I started working out, I wanted to gain muscle, so I increased my protein, and then I also increased my calories, and so I started gaining more weight, and I think I got up to like 265, somewhere around there, and then I cut down to 245. So that was kind of an interesting little thing, and that whole process took me just over 3 years. So we're going to take a look at some stuff here. So there I was at 210 pounds. You can see I had no arms. I mean, look at that. That right there, I had no chest, no shoulders, had the little man boob action going on there. My stomach was over my belt. You can see I had the stuff on my sides, the love handles were getting bigger and bigger. And thank God I didn't do a picture of my ass, because I just looked yuck. It was pretty bad. So anyway, it ends up that during this time, this 3 years, which I hyper-focused on nutrition, I went to 263 pounds. It was just over a 3-year process, all natural. And again, I was hyper-focused on nutrition. Calories mattered. I read studies. I went over the nutrition stuff I learned in the military, and then added to that more information. And I found out what worked. So yeah, at the big one with my arms out, like that, in the green tank top there, the gold thing, yeah, I was 263, and then I cut down to 243, so I had some visible abs and stuff like that. So yeah, hyper focused on all of this information. The amazing thing is that a lot of people say, oh, you're on juice, you're on steroids, and it's like, no, I just really didn't have a life outside of work, exercise, nutrition, and recovery. And I was hyper-focused on that. I was doing meal planning. I was doing my meals for the week, and so I wouldn't stray from that because I was trying to gain muscle mass, really tweak the nutrition plan and my caloric intake for a surplus. Balancing that, tracking my weight, tracking my body fat, through calipers and stuff like that, and really tweaking and finding out how to build muscle and then minimize the amount of fat. I still had some decent amount of fat, but I was able to find out what worked. Okay, and there's going to be some variances if you do the same thing. But recently, what I found out, and I continued on with that. And to be honest with you, years later, after I did that 3-year recomp, I ended up getting tested because I had fatigue, I had memory problems, I had brain fog. I was just, all the problems of low testosterone I ended up getting, and I had for a while, and I got tested and I had low testosterone, so I got on TRT. So after that, I've been taking advantage of that for, about 4 years now. So that's been a great help. But TRT is not the magic end-all thing that will make you look huge. You have to put in the work. You have to have a good nutrition plan. I've met people, guys, who are in their 30s and 40s, that were on TRT, hard steroids like trenbolone, and what was that other thing the guy was on? Winstrol. All those 3 things right there, and like in big doses. But he didn't even look as good as I did when I just did my natural body recomp. And that's because his nutrition was shit and his workout wasn't good as well. So, but with that, talking about weight loss, I want to jump into this because a lot of people have been asking me, how do we do the weight loss thing? And I want to go over some information. So let's hit this up. Like most people, you'll probably go online and you'll hear about how different types of techniques or ways that you can lose body fat and tone down the fat or tone up. It's not really toning, you just lose body fat to show the muscles that you do have. So with that being said, I've heard keto, I've heard high fat, low fat, high protein, low protein diet, whatever it is, intermittent fasting, the whole 9 yards. You have to eat organic. You have to eat this healthy foods versus processed foods. Really, those are misnomers because when we get down to brass tacks, it's all about calories. And I think part of the problem is that we see places like, here's the Mayo Clinic, 6 strategies for success in weight loss. Now, some of these things apply, like make sure you're ready, have a strong desire to lose weight. Am I distracted? You got to be ready to lose weight. If you don't want to lose weight, you won't lose weight. I'll guarantee you. Find your inner drive. Okay. Set goals you can reach. Aim to lose 1 to 2 pounds. To do that, you'll need to burn about 500 to 700 calories more than you take in each day. Losing 5% of your current body weight is good. If you start with 180 pounds, that's 9 pounds. Conditions hard. It can help set 2 types of goals. The first is an action goal. Healthy action to lose weight, like you want to lose, walk 30 minutes a day or whatever it is, go to the gym. And the other one is an outcome goal. You can list healthy outcome. I want to lose 10 pounds as is an example of an outcome goal. But as far as getting to how you actually do this, it says you need to burn about 500 to 750 more calories than you take in a day. This is very problematic in the fact that you have people that what they will end up doing is they're eating so much that even if they drop 500 or 750 calories a day, they still might be eating in excess. And so they might just hit a maintenance level of calories, so they're not going to lose body fat. So a lot of people will do that because they don't understand that you have to be in a calorie deficit. I've had people contact me and, say, hey, can I help them out with weight loss? And it's like, well, what are you doing? How much do you weigh, your age, your sex, your physical activity, all of those metrics and variables, and say, okay, well, how much do you eat? Well, I eat healthy. That's not what I asked. What I asked is, how much do you eat? Well, I eat organic or I eat healthy and I don't eat processed food. That's not what I asked. How much do you eat? How many calories do you eat in a day? And for the people that claim to be having problems and don't understand why, and something's wrong with their body because they can't lose weight, those are the people that don't know how much they eat. And it's interesting because I've had 2 responses to this. People will get offended and then I never hear from them again because I ask, okay, here's what I want you to do. And here's why they leave. I will tell them, I want you to record for 1 week everything that you put in your pie hole. Everything that you eat, consume, drink, whatever it is, put it down, write it down, the quantity, track it, and we will find out how much you're eating in a week. And then what we'll do is we'll average that out and come up with how many calories you eat a day on average within a week. People get frustrated because they say, well, there's something wrong with me because I'm eating healthy, but I'm still gaining weight or I'm not losing weight. And it's like, well, because you're probably at excessive calories or you're at a maintenance phase and you need to be in a calorie deficit. The whole thing about the Mayo Clinic saying, you need to burn more than what you take in each day. The problem with that is there's a lot of people that are eating way more than what they should. And so even if they do an activity like walking 30 minutes a day, which is a good thing to start with, they might be over consuming so many calories that they're not getting that 500 to 750 calorie deficit, which is an extreme deficit to begin with. So they're not even with the activities that they're doing, they're not coming down and burning those excess calories. So that's why they're not losing body fat. So when I tell people, I say, hey, we need to find out where you're at before we can even start the journey. That's what it comes down to. If you don't know, like going in a 5K race, if you don't know where the starting line is at on where you start, you can never finish the race. You can't even begin the race because you don't know where the starting point is. And the starting point for weight loss comes down to we need to know how much you're consuming per day. Now, the interesting thing is that people, and there's a reason why I say take a week, record everything you eat, and then we'll get an average of how much you eat per day. Because some people will eat a little in a day on certain days, but then on weekends or stuff like that, they will just engorge themselves with an overabundance of calories and make up for that day that they had a small amount of calories. So that's why I go for a week, and I've learned that through a lot of trial and error with people. Excuse me. Now, I don't train people anymore. I did every once in a while, but I figured I'd pass this on to do a video because I've got more people, and I just figured I'd do one fell swoop and we'll nip this in the bud. So with that being said, the people that do track how much they eat, they are amazed at how many calories they consume on average in a day. And again, it's an entire week. So we're talking Monday through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I've had people that would, well, this is what I eat during the week. But on the weekend, it's like the gates of hell open up, refrigerators everywhere, food just constantly going in their pie hole, and it just ruins the entire week. So that's why I say, hey, let's track, find out what you eat for an entire week, and then we'll go from there, because that is going to be your starting point. Because we need to know how much you consume, and if you claim that, I'm exercising but I can't lose weight, there's a reason. You're consuming too many calories. Yeah, that's the elephant in the room, is that the calories matter. So let's go back to this. So yeah, this whole thing of saying, you need to burn 500 to 750 calories more than you take in each day. That's kind of that is a big drop. That is a huge drop, and it's generally not considered healthy. The majority of medical establishments and organizations, when they talk about weight loss, for a healthy weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds a week. So having about a 200 to 300, maybe a 400 calorie deficit, so this 500 to 750 calorie deficit is huge. And to try to say that you need to do that with activities is really putting people into a position where they're basically going to try to kill themselves to lose weight by doing so much time in the gym. They're going to get burned out. It's going to be a negative reinforcement in regards to weight loss and having a healthy lifestyle. We want positive reinforcement. So it goes, I kind of disagree with this, obviously. It talks about enjoying healthy foods. Be tasty, whatever. Eat 4 servings of vegetables and 3 servings of food a day. Fruits, snack on fruits and veggies if you get hungry. It talks about this stuff like this. Choose low-fat or fat-free dairy products or whatever. Focus on eating fresh foods. Now, this is a good thing. That's good advice generally. But again, the elephant in the room is the amount of calories you consume. I've had people that talk about almost verbatim what the Mayo Clinic has just said. And they're like, I don't understand. I'm still gaining weight. Well, it's because there's too many calories. Just because you're eating vegetables or you're eating fruits, the amount that you're eating per day, most people can't figure out and accurately estimate how much food or what a serving size is. Even there was a study, and I tried looking for it again, I couldn't find it, but it was a number of years ago where they took nutritionists and dietitians and had them go through and look at certain plates of food to estimate, how many calories, what the macros were, how much protein, how much carbs, how much fats was in a meal, and the majority of them couldn't do it accurately. So if dietitians and nutritionists who are trained to do that have a huge margin of error, the average person like you and me, we're going to be even more off. Okay, so that's the reason why that a lot of people don't lose weight is they can't accurately judge how many calories or how much protein, how much fat, or how much carbs food contains. And the other problem is with being an American and or Westernized countries, we have such huge portions of food that we think, oh, well, this is one serving size. And it's like, in a fast food restaurant or even restaurants in general, the serving sizes are way too much. And that causes a problem because we think that's a normal serving size. It's not. Many times it could be 2 or 3 times more than what a serving size should be. So yeah, it's just kind of a thing. So for the people like that, you can overeat healthy foods. You can overeat vegetables, you can overeat snacks and fruits and all of these things and pastas, and that can cause a problem with your weight loss. Let's go back here and we'll take a look and get active, stay active, which is, I totally agree with that. Physical exercise, burn off extra calories. Well, wait a second. First of all, you're talking about burning 500 to 750 calories, and now physical activity helps burn off extra calories. You see, there's kind of there's a problem with this. The biggest thing that I see, talks about using stairs instead of an elevator, change your mindset, and then it just kind of leaves it at that. There's a problem with this because it doesn't address the elephant in the room, which is calories matter. If we go over to Harvard Health Publishing, diet and weight loss, it talks about that. What's the best diet for weight loss? The interesting thing, there was a study done that went over like 40 different diets and to find out and ask the question, well, which one is more superior? Keto, high carb, low carb, high fat, low fat, high protein, low protein, or, different combinations, Jenny Craig, the whole 9 yards. And it ended up that with that study, they found out that there was no significant difference in weight loss with any of those diets. In other words, it's not like the keto diet showed up and outshone everybody for weight loss. They were all essentially the same. There was no big significant difference. But so what that ended up telling the researchers is that they're basically all the same. But the one that clicks for you is going to work well. And that's another thing that I ended up doing and training people and stuff like that. And even in my own experience of eat the foods that you like. If I put you on a nutrition plan with foods that you don't like if you don't like oatmeal and my plan puts you on oatmeal, you're going to hate being on that plan. And it's going to be a negative reinforcement. So we try to use foods that end up that you like and enjoy and, aren't allergic to, that you don't like the taste of this. Well, we're not going to eat that. We're not going to include that into your plan. There's people that I know that don't like salmon. And so guess what? Okay, well, I'm not going to force you to eat salmon because if you don't like it, you're not going to eat it. It's a negative reinforcement. One individual ended up getting an exercise and nutrition plan from a fitness influencer, and it was a cut and paste nutrition plan. He said, but I don't like the fish, and I don't like this, which was 2/3 of the meals. And it's like, I can't remember the other meat he was talking about. It's either chicken or beef, one or the other, that he didn't like it. And it's like, well, there's other things that you can eat besides, this fish, and he didn't like fish in general. And so redoing a nutrition plan, but counting the calories, make the plan and work it and eat the food that you like and enjoy. And the interesting thing is that even in a calorie deficit, there's people that say, well, you should just eat organic food or whole foods or healthy foods. Don't eat processed foods. There's actually people that have gone on record and showed that they were able to lose weight even on high processed food diets when they did the calorie counting. I don't recommend that, but again, it goes to the elephant in the room is that the calories ultimately matter. So am I saying you eat processed food to lose weight? No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is that you need to track the calories. And obviously, healthy foods or real foods, as people say, are better for you than processed foods. But when it comes to weight loss, Healthy foods do not make you lose weight more than processed foods, less processed foods. It's just a calorie deficit. So I'm kind of a meat and potatoes type of guy. So I do meats, I do dairy, I do vegetables. We have these canine teeth for a reason. But if you want to be a vegan, whatever, that's fine. But yeah, the calories matter. So looking at this Harvard Health Publishing and talking about this, which diets are better. Healthy diet favors natural, unprocessed foods over prepackaged meals and snacks. Again, it comes down to calories. Is it better to have whole foods? Yeah, it is, but it's not a requirement for body fat loss. And the quantity, the other thing I see on here, the Mediterranean style diet, and it talks about all these things. And then it goes experts with DASH diet. And then it talks about intermittent fasting. I've had people contact me and say, hey, I do intermittent fasting, but I'm still gaining weight. So intermittent fasting means that you're not going to eat for a long period of time, and then in a shorter period of time, that's when you're going to be eating your meals. But I can tell you right now with 100% certainty is that if you fast for 18 hours a day and the other hours of the day you're shoving food down your pie hole like no tomorrow and you're in a calorie surplus, you will gain body fat and you will not lose weight. It's all about the numbers. It's about the quantity of the food that you're putting down your mouth, okay? And just because you fast for 10, 12, 16, 18 hours, it doesn't really matter if you're shoving and making up that amount of food into a small food eating window and you're still in a calorie surplus. So yeah, and people combine that with the fact that most people don't understand or can't accurately judge how many calories are in the foods that they're eating. It's kind of a big wake up for a lot of people. So yeah, it's kind of interesting when we talk about that. So yeah, talking about numerous studies, intermittent weight loss. Again, for intermittent fasting to work, you have to be in a calorie deficit. And you're reducing the amount of calories you eat by reducing the window of which you can eat. That's what intermittent fasting is about. High fat weight loss diet, again, it comes down to calories, the different macros, for your protein, your carbs, and your fats. Again, research shows that, yeah, keto is an effective way to jumpstart weight loss and improve blood levels. It's hard to maintain, but blah, blah, blah. But all of those other diets work as well. It's just the one that clicks for you, that is going to resonate with you, that's going to give you a positive experience and positive feedback. Eating the foods that you like, that is what's going to work. But it has to be a calorie deficit regardless of what meal plan that you do. And I highly recommend that if you do a nutrition plan, have it be foods that you will eat and continue on eating in a healthy manner to get the benefits of, health and longevity. So then it talks about an eating plate and, stuff like this. But the problem is, again, comes down to that we don't know how much we eat, and we don't know how to estimate the foods that we put into our bodies. So a healthy plate, what some person says, well, this is a healthy plate because look at all the vegetables and all the meat and all this that I eat, you can still be eating in a surplus, and so that you will maintain, or you can even gain body fat by eating healthy. It depends on how big is the plate. That's another thing that comes into play. There's huge differences. People in Korea, I retired in Korea, and the majority of serving sizes are greatly smaller. Greatly smaller? Boy, that's an oxymoron. But they're significantly smaller than the serving sizes that we see in the United States, especially for fast foods and restaurants and things like that. And there's more vegetables, but you have a lot of different side dishes, but they're really small, little small containers and dishes, with a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but not like the huge portions that we see in the United States. So what I want to do is I want to go over, I recently lost a bunch of weight in the last week. In other words, I've lost almost 8 pounds in the last week, and I want to show you how this works out. Let's go back to the interwebs and on calculator.net, and it doesn't really matter. I just like this one. is a caloric calculator. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. And this is to create how many calories you should eat, whether you want to gain weight, maintain weight, or lose weight, or significantly lose weight. So I put in my metrics here. We're using freedom units. So yeah, even though I'm an American expat, I still believe in freedom units, mostly. 58 years old. I'm a male. I'm 6'2". I was 265 pounds. And my exercise was 3 to 4 times a week with intense exercise. We're doing for calories, we're just doing this one here, the Mifflin St. Jour formula, which is just, there's different types of formulas, but they're generally all the same. And if we calculate this, what we ended up with is to maintain my weight at 265. It says it's 3,242 calories a day, which is pretty damn close, because as I was tracking my maintenance at 265 pounds, it was 3,300 calories. It was like 3,310 calories or whatever it was. So this is pretty darn close. For mild weight loss, we're talking about a half a pound a week. I would have to drop that down to like 2,992 calories a day. For 1 pound a week, we're talking about 2,700 calories a day. And for extreme weight loss, 2 pounds a week, we're talking about dropping it down to 2,242 calories a day. So we're down to 69%. In the fact that it's been about a week and a half, I lost 7 pounds. So a week is 7, 8, 9, 10 days. So 7 divided by 10, it ended up about 0.7 per day. So yeah, there's that. But for me, it's not hard to lose weight, because at the level that I was at 265 pounds, that's a lot of food that you have to eat. And it's, to be honest, gaining weight is harder because of the mass amounts of food that you have to eat. So, it talks about zigzag calorie cycling. I don't really get that. It's just, it doesn't really make sense to me. It's just, you don't need to worry about that. As far as activity, if you do intense exercise 6 to 7 times a week, you could lose 1.1. Very intense daily or highly physical job, you could do, 2.3 pounds per week. I was doing 4 days a week, and it's pretty intense. So, yeah, you can go through and do this caloric calculator on calculator.net. And let's see, if we only do light exercise 1 to 3 times a week. And if we calculate that, then to maintain the weight, this is kind of a misnomer. It's kind of based on the exercise that you do. So, 2,800 calories. Half pound a week, we're looking at 26. 1 pound a week, we're looking at 2,300. Extreme, 2 pounds a week, about 1,800. So this is a huge thing, that you're going to have a significant decrease in calories. So in other words, there's going to be a huge decrease in calories, almost on what we were seeing on that first website, the Mayo Clinic, 500 to 750 calories a day deficit, but they wanted you to do physical activity. But I tell you what we end up seeing is like the shows, like My 600-Pound Life. And you have the people that go see Dr. Now or whatever his name is, and these people are, 5, 6, 7, 800 pounds, and he puts them on a restrictive diet, and just through diet alone, they're able to drop massive amounts of weight because it's a calorie deficit. So when they're in that severe deficit, their body needs energy, and so it's going to go to those fat stores, which is basically like, you have a car and you fill it up with gas, you got too much gas, you're going to put gas in the gas, in the gas container, and you're going to put that in the trunk. you're storing that fuel or that energy for the vehicle for later. So our bodies do the same thing in the fact that if we eat too much, our body puts it into a container and stores it, and that's where we get the fat, the gels and the fat and the love handles, stomach, butts, ass, whatever. The jiggly parts of your arm like that. It stores it for later. So when you go into a calorie deficit, your body, like the car, says, "Hey, I need fuel." It's going to go to where that fuel is stored in your body and use that. So there's that aspect. And again, it all comes down to calories matter. I've had individuals that told me, "Well, I have a really restrictive diet." But it ends up that the person was way overdoing it with the protein powder. And they're like, well, because generally the rule of thumb is that keep your protein high, and that way you can minimize the amount of muscle mass that you're going to lose when you're doing a cut and losing body fat, which is true. But again, he wasn't tracking how many he was doing or how many calories he was getting through that protein powder shake, which also had some carbs in there, and he found out, oh wow, yeah, no wonder I can't lose weight. I'm overdoing the calories with the protein shake. People do protein bars. People do protein bars, and they will eat these like no tomorrow, and they taste good, and they have a lot of protein. But we're talking about in this protein bar, 340 calories with one bar. Guys eating 6 to 8 of these a day. So if we're looking at, let's see, what does that come out to? 340 times 6, that's 2,000 calories a day on just the protein power bars that he was eating. 2,000 calories a day. And he's wondering why the rest of his nutrition was good. And it was kind of like, well, I don't understand it. You're not losing weight, and I have to assume he's telling me the truth. And it's like, man, you're from what you're telling me, your nutrition plan is good. You eat this, X amount of, ounces of chicken and veggies and this, and I'm doing the math. And it's like, I don't understand. There's got to be something else. And if you ever watched that show, House, where he's a doctor and he's really cynical and he's kind of a jerk, but he basically came up with this thing and he says everybody lies, and everybody does. So what ended up happening with this guy, as I was texting and we were going back and forth and chatting and things like that, I said, well, you got to be, either you're an anomaly unlike any other person on the planet, or you're not telling me something. And then that's when finally pressing him, he says, well, I'm eating some protein bars because I want to maintain the muscle mass. I don't want to lose muscle mass as I'm trying to lose this body fat. And I'm like, that's true. That is a thing, but that should be all inclusive of your entire nutrition plan. So what are you eating? And he goes, well, I'm eating some protein bars. I'm like, oh, okay. How many protein bars? Well, it's a few. And it ended up being 6, which is 2,000 calories a day, which totally blew his calorie deficit. So he was trying to do, 2 to 3, maybe 350 calorie deficit a day. But with the protein bars, he was going in the opposite. He was actually going into a surplus of calories, so he was gaining weight. So, yeah, just because it's a protein bar, there's still calories. Look at that, 340 calories, and he was eating 6 of those a day. That's over 2,000 calories a day, and he was trying to be in a surplus. So, and I'm not gonna use his name or anything, but let's go back and I'll kind of plug in some numbers that I can remember. He was 45. He was 5'9". And what was he? 230 something. I'll just say 235. And he was exercising 3 times a week, I think it was. And when you calculate that, for him to do weight loss of 1 pound a week, he would have to be doing 2,100 calories a day, basically. His was a little bit less. I think it was around 1,800 calories a day. But then he threw on another 2,000 calories just from the protein bars that he was eating. And now he's eating, what, 4,000, over 4,000 calories a day? No wonder he wasn't losing weight. No wonder he was gaining weight because of the calories. So I know a lot of people don't like the fact that they're like, oh, counting calories is bad. It's almost like counting calories is offensive and it's mean and it's oppressive and it's restrictive. It's a calorie restrictive diet. That's how you lose weight. It has to be restrictive to some degree. Now, the thing is that when you go through the weight loss process, and let's go back to that page there, let's go through and say, let's say you're going to do 2 pounds a week, extreme weight loss, about 1,600 calories a day. Once you reach that level, and then what we're going to do is, let's go back, and let's say he gets down to 180 pounds is where he wanted to be. So to maintain that weight, he's got to be at 2,300 calories a day, which is, that's a good thing. But don't go flying off the handle, and just because you lost your weight, that what you end up doing is totally disregarding calories that are going in. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people do. They'll go on a diet, even if it's healthy, even if it's whatever, it doesn't matter what diet it is, or even worse, they'll do fad diets. They'll lose a bunch of weight, but as soon as they lose the weight, they feel good for a while, and then they go right back into the same old nutrition habits that they had, except maybe they replaced, eating a bunch of donuts with eating a bunch of protein bars, and they're still going over in calories and they're doing a surplus, and they're gaining that weight back, and even more so. And the interesting thing is that when you have a bunch of body fat and you lose a bunch of weight and you eat a surplus of calories, it's so much easier to get fat again. It's like your body has this memory. It's, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, we did this before. Boom, and they just bring it on. Of course, if you're putting all the calories in there, that is what your body is going to do anyway. So yeah, a lot of interesting information. It really comes down to calories, and the calories do matter. The thing I recommend is that once you get down to a maintenance level, you get down to the body weight that you want. I'm sleek. I see a little bit of ab action. Whatever your goal is, to get, I don't want to be fat because I don't like heart disease. I don't want to die early. I don't want to have complications or clogged arteries, and so that's why I'm doing this. But once you lose and get down to the level that you want to maintain, have a nutrition plan to eat that nutrition set of calories per day and eat it with good foods. And you know what? You can even have, I dare say, crappy foods. You can have ice cream, you can have donuts, you have lattes. I have lattes, I have ice cream, I have donuts. But in my nutrition plan, I take that into account. So there's days where I don't eat as much because I know on the weekend I'm going to have, a Friday donut, and I have my lattes every day of the week and sometimes twice on Sunday. But all of that is included in my nutrition plan, so I don't go over in calories. So it's easier for me to stay in that maintenance zone. I'm still in a restrictive diet, but I take into account the things I eat. And if I actively track and hyper focus on those calories and on my nutrition, it gets easier and easier to estimate when I go out. Say, like I go out to a restaurant or whatever, and it's like, well, how do you know how many calories, to eat? And well, after doing meal portions for the week and saying, well, this is how many carbs and this is how much rice, this is how much potatoes or this or that, or how much, protein, chicken or beef, you get to a place if you've been doing that consistently for months and months on end, it's easier to estimate and correctly estimate how much food that you're eating. But then it also requires some self-discipline of saying, hey, I'm at the restaurant, yeah, I've ate my fill. And so I'm not going to eat anymore. Or you can also go the other way around. You can say, okay, well, I'm going to eat a minimal amount of food because I know I'm going to go out tomorrow night and I'm going to get my eat on. So again, you kind of balance out the calories in so you're still within that maintenance phase. So we got a comment here, and it says, "Greetings, Steve. An excellent topic indeed regarding weight loss. I believe there is no loss. There is no loss, but rather the weight is returned to the universe. Your overall analysis is once again spot on." Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The weight is returned to the universe. That's an interesting way to put it, because those things don't just disappear. It doesn't just disappear in thin air. It's out there somewhere. And so whether the food is there and whether we consume it or not, the food is still, that's kind of a metaphysical, philosophical way to look at it. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, it really does come down to calories matter. And especially, so when I see people or saying, oh, well, you just need to drink lemon juice every day, squeeze a lemon into water and drink that every day and you'll get weight loss. No, you won't. I've known people that have done that and they're complaining that, hey, I don't understand because I'm drinking lemon water, I'm doing this and that and taking these supplements and I'm not losing weight. It's because you're eating too much. It's plain and simple. You don't need those wild fad diet supplements and all of this, even the Ozempic, get it prescribed by a doctor. I don't recommend that stuff at all because you don't need it. Why would you put yourself at risk with a medication that can give you side effects, which we're seeing in a lot of people nowadays, when you don't need to? It's like, why would I point a gun at my head? And I shouldn't be doing that to begin with. You don't need to do that. So really it comes down to counting calories, and I think a lot of problems come from a lot of these influencers that are trying to sell you supplements, and every single weight loss supplement in the fine print on the website or the product itself, it's got to be somewhere. But definitely on the website, you'll see the real small, tiny words that says, use in conjunction with a proper nutrition and exercise program. I've had people get mad at me because I told them you don't need that supplement that is costing you $200 a month to lose weight. Yes, I do. It's great. It's been studied and blah, 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 blah. I said, you don't need it. I can get you that same and better weight loss by just doing a nutrition plan that focuses on calories and whether you're going to be a deficit and how much of a deficit, and you can maintain that without having to spend any extra money on a supplement from some wild berry from South America or whatever. That it doesn't matter. I'll save you $200. But these people will spend $200 a month and then complain to me that they're not losing weight. But these supplements are awesome. But they just don't understand because my body's different. I swear to God, I've had these conversations with people. I wish I recorded these things, but it wouldn't be fair because if they don't know that they're being recorded, that would be mean, and I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. But yeah, the conversations I've had with people on chats and FaceTime and stuff like that, swearing up and down, oh, you need to do this, and this is gonna, and it's like, well, you wait a second. You're paying like $200 a month for this supplement that is super healthy, super vitamin food to help you lose weight. Why are you contacting me asking me how to lose weight? What? And I'm telling you, it's calories. Calories in and calories out. And again, you don't need to exercise to lose weight. Now, it is good that you do exercise because you can get a lot of medical benefits. You can reduce heart disease. If you do 75 minutes to 150 minutes of elevated cardio a week, you can reduce your chances of heart issues like heart attack, stroke, and all of those things by up to 50%. It's not a guarantee, but up to 50%. So there are some great reasons. Resistance training, whether it's with machines or cables or free weights or rubber bands or kettlebells or body weight, it doesn't really matter. You can get some great benefits from that adds directly to the longevity and the quality of your life through that exercise program. I've had people, oh, it has to be free weights for you to get any real benefits. No, there's actually studies that have been done that show the body doesn't know the difference between 25 pounds in a dumbbell and 25 pounds in a machine. It's still 25 pounds in the line of force. It's 25 pounds. It's 25 pounds, Granted, there's machines that make it easier, like a machine bench press that uses different angles and stuff like that is going to be a little bit easier than a regular bench press with free weights. But if you're concerned about the amount of weight, just add more weight on the machine and boom, problem solved. But again, I'm not trying to compete with free weights versus machines because the majority of my stuff is done with machines. So yeah, the body doesn't just suddenly flip off and say, yeah, I'm not going to grow any muscle, or I'm not going to exercise, or no, you're not going to get any benefits from exercising because we're on a machine and we're not on free weights. That's not how the body works. And even going into a place of now I'm kind of ranting now, but where you have fitness influencers that are saying, well, if your hand position is like this, or your thumbs are like this as you're pulling in doing, a rowing movement, and your thumbs are this instead of this, you're not going to get as much a good exercise if your grip is like this versus this, which is absolutely asinine, because if you're pulling 150 pounds and you're exercising your lats and you're squeezing those back muscles to wrap around, it's 150 pounds whether I do it like this or whether like this. It doesn't matter. It's not like your body's going to say, oh, my thumbs are in the wrong position. You're not getting any gains today. That's not how that works. So, yeah. But they got to come up with content. And I think the weight loss industry, which is wildly fabricated, talking about the other thing I don't like is weight loss for your body type. You have ectomorph, mesomorph, and ectomeso and endomorph. Those three types of body types. And, people say, well, you have to have a routine for your body type. Actually, and now I'm really just kind of going into this. What was the guy's name? It was back a long time ago. And what is it? Here it is. And I'm going to show you body type, because I forget the guy's name, author. William Sheldon, that was the dude. So let's take a look at this. Now we're kind of in the rambling phase. What are some different types of body shapes? Talks about body shapes and types and reticular and whatever. This is talking about the ectomorph. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you can read. When the body is lean and slender and tends to have less body fat and muscle. People with this body type, in other words, skinny. It's challenging to gain weight in the form of muscle or fat. Fashion models are an example of this body type. Fashion models eat a cracker. That is their nutrition plan. So we're just talking about people who are lean or slender. You can overcome that by eating more. Yeah. Endomorph, when the body is more stored fat, lots of muscle, and gains weight easily. People with this body type are not always overweight. In other words, it's just kind of middle of the road. And then you have the mesomorph, which is athletic, strong. They can be really big, kind of hulking looking people. But the guy that actually did this was typing. Let me see if I can get that, because this is really important. And because it actually stemmed, I think this is it, it was actually psychology. And it was a flawed psychology thing. And so there was this guy, William Herbert Sheldon, categorized the human physique according to relative contribution to three fundamental elements, which he termed somotypes, classified as ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. He created these terms as three germ layers of embryonic development and whatever. But basically, he said that that all of this, that people have different types, and the type of person, so you have the ectomorph, the mesomorph, and endomorph, and that they displayed specific psychological traits. As a skinny person was described as intelligent, gentle, or calm, but self-conscious, introverted, and anxious. So that's the skinny dude there. Mesomorph, characterized as naturally hard and strong, and even weight and distribution, muscular, thick-skinned, having a good posture and narrow waist, described as competitive, extroverted, and tough, kind of the man's man. And then the endomorph was fat, short, difficult to losing weight, described as outgoing, friendly, happy, laid back, but also lazy and selfish. So really, Sheldon's whole thing had nothing to do with exercise. It had nothing to do with this. It was actually a flawed study of saying, well, if you're one of these three categories, that will determine the type of person you are, which is horribly wrong. I mean, there's people that are skinny that are hardworking. There's people in the military that I knew that were skinny and an ectomorph, and they were the hardest, most reliable people that I knew. And he also even got into some place of saying, some based on your somotype is that some are more moral than others, which is absolutely not true. There's no indication of that. So it was really a flawed study. And then what happened is that the healthcare industry ended up seeing this and saying, oh, different types of body types. Oh, okay. Well, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take these body types here and we're going to end up, we're going to say, wouldn't you want to have an exercise program that's geared towards your body type? That's where we're going to make our money. So if you're an ectomorph, fill out this form, take this quiz, and we will give you an exercise routine that is geared towards your specific body type. Now, this is kind of an interesting little thing because as an individual, as a person, would you just want a regular workout routine, or do you want one that's towards your body type? Well, of course, everybody's going to say they want one that's more like them because it's more. It seems like it's a more individualized and personal routine than just a regular workout routine, and that totally makes sense. But it doesn't in regards to physical fitness because, again, the somotype thing had nothing to do with physical fitness. It doesn't say that, okay, you're going to have a different workout routine, physical fitness routine, if you're an ectomorph versus a mesomorph or an endomorph. It's just not, a fat person versus a thin person. You're going to have a different workout routine. No, that's absolutely untrue. And case in point, I had an individual, and it was the Vince, what is his name? Vince from whatever, the YouTube. He actually put in for that and got the routine for his thing, but he got the wrong program. This was early on when it first started. So he contacted the company and he says, hey, I'm this body type, but you sent me the wrong information. So they sent him the routine he was skinny, or he was fat, but he got the skinny routine. And so they sent him the one that he was supposed to get. And when he had both of the workout routines, they were exactly the same. Bench press, dumbbell curl, lat rows. Okay, this, that, squat. It was the exact same routine. It's just marketing hype to say, ooh, do you want just a regular program or do you want a specialized program, workout routine that is specifically designed for your body type, for your somotype? Of course, everybody's going to want the specialized type, but it's still the same stuff. The same thing that pisses me off, and I'm really ranting now, the same thing that pisses me off on women routines versus men's. Oh, well, you don't want a man's routine. You got to have a woman's routine. Women, seriously, jeez. Women are still going to do bench press. They're still going to work on their back. They're still going to do curls. They're still going to work their triceps, their thighs, their glutes, their calves. If you're going to do a full body exercise routine, there is no difference between men and women because you're still going to do sets. You're still going to do a certain amount of reps. That it's not like your body says, well, I'm a woman, so I need to, I'm going to have different exercises to work the bicep muscle. And there's two heads to your bicep. But I'm a woman, so I'm going to need different exercises than an exercise that a man has for their bicep, which is a bicep curl is a bicep curl. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. The only thing that's probably going to be different is that women have more lower body strength in their lower region, from their waist down versus their upper body. They usually generally tend to have less muscle mass, but it doesn't matter because you're still going to work and exercise those muscles 2 to 3 times or 2 to 3 exercises per muscle group, and you're still going to recover 24 to 72 hours. And then you're still going to work towards failure. It's the same stuff, the exact same problem. It's all this hype of saying, the exercise program is going to be, well, you should only use free weights, or women should only use resistance bands. We've heard that one too. Or women shouldn't use kettlebells. They should use the small pink weights. Seriously? 5 pounds is 5 pounds. It doesn't matter if the dumbbell's pink or if it's a kettlebell that's 5 pounds, or if it's 5 pounds on a dumbbell, or if it's 5 pounds on a machine. If you're doing a curl is a curl is a curl. It doesn't matter if the weight doesn't care if you're male or female or whatever in between. Your body is going to respond to that resistance training, and you're doing that so that you can have a better quality of life and longevity. So all of this stuff is saying, you need to have a specific, you're a man, you need to have a specific routine geared towards men. Or women need to have their own workout routines or whatever. No, that's not true. And if you even look at natural or professional bodybuilders who are women, I've talked to a lot of them, and they do the same routines. It's like, this one professional IFBB, she used to be back in the States, it was like over 10 years ago. I can't remember her name, but she went to the gym, and I'd seen her and talked about it. And she was like, yeah, I do the exact same exercise as this male professional bodybuilder, but I just don't do as much weight, obviously. Same number of sets, same number of reps, the whole 9 yards. And, it's a misnomer. It's all hype to try to get to sell you something that makes it look like you're getting a personalized product and you're paying more money for it. Or they're just trying to get their piece of the pie by saying, hey, well, your body type or your sex or whatever it is, we're gonna gear this towards you and your type versus just a regular routine, which somehow gives this impression that you're getting less with just a regular routine. But I can tell you, like that guy, he got those 2 programs, and there was no difference between the ectomorph and the endomorph, the skinny and the fat guy routine. Nothing different. The exact same program. Order of exercises was a little bit different, but still the same exercise. So, calories matter when you're talking about weight loss. Again, we see it on TV with Dr. Now, the 600-pound life. If you go on this calorie restrictive diet, and he puts people on like 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories instead of the 10 or 12,000 calories that they're eating per day. And guess what? They don't do any exercise, and they lose a huge amount of weight. For most people, I would say a safe weight loss and healthy weight loss is about 2 pounds per week. And again, talking about that calorie counter that we were talking about. Let me see if I find out. What was that again? Yeah, caloriecalculator.net, and doing that caloric calculator right there. That's a good one there, But there's other calorie calculators, so don't think that this is the only one or it's the special one. You can go to bodybuilders.com, and they have a calorie calculator. They're basically all the same. There's minor differences in the different calculations that they use, but it's generally within 1 or 200 calories. So basically, it's going to come out roughly the same. And even then, you might have to do some minor adjustments and say, well, I'm not losing 2 pounds a week, or let's say I'm not losing 1 pound a week. I'm only losing about a half pound. Well, then just drop your calories down another, and the rule of thumb is about 200 calories. Case in point, let's take a look at that. So when we take a look at this, here it is. If you're trying to lose 1 pound a week, but you're only losing a half pound a week, what's the difference between that and that? It's a couple hundred calories. So when people get to a point and say, well, I was losing 1 pound a week, but now I'm only losing a half pound, I don't understand, something's not right. All you got to do is go back, put in the new numbers and say, well, I was 180 and now I'm 170. So I'll do that. Everything else is the same. And then you calculate it. And now you reduce your calories, 1 or 200 calories a day to get back onto that weight loss. So as you lose weight, you need to make adjustments for that because have you considered that as another variable? If you've lost weight, you need to redo the calculator. So just a lot of interesting stuff when we talk about this and talking about weight loss. It really is about calories and then maintaining that calorie once you hit that level that you want to be at. Then you do a maintenance plan, and then you can eat the foods that you want. I highly suggest that you do your nutrition plan for weight loss with foods that you enjoy eating, so that way when you drop and you hit the level that you want and you're on a maintenance, you're eating the foods that you normally eat anyway. The problem is a lot of people fail with weight loss, and the reason they gain that weight back is because they'll do this restrictive nutrition plan, and then they hit their weight loss goals, and then month, maybe 2 months, 3 months, but then they go back to their old eating habits of shoving food down their pie hole, even doing, 6, 7 of these a day. 6 of these a day is 2,000 calories. You're going to gain that weight back fast, quick, and in a hurry. But if you, again, do the meal planning, you do the meal portions and all of that, and you get used to doing that, it's not a pain. And you can maintain that level of your body fat composition that you want with ease. But unfortunately, here in America, we think that, you gotta do a fad diet and you drop down because you're going to the high school reunion or you're going to the wedding or you're doing this or that. And then the rest of the year, you're just eating like a madman or a madwoman. You're just going to gain more weight. And this gets into the problem is as you eat more, your stomach expands and you don't get that sensation of fullness because now you have to get that same sensation. You have to put more food in. You put more food in, your stomach gets bigger because we don't know how to estimate the food. So we eat more food until we feel full. And it's just a never-ending cycle. And that's why people end up on 600-pound life. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so anyway, hopefully this answers the question for a lot of people. I would suggest if you're doing a weight loss program using the caloric calculator and you're losing 2 pounds a week, if that's what you want to do, and then it's dropping down to only a pound or a half pound, go back, redo the caloric calculator, track what's going down your pie hole, and eat foods that you like. I've done weight loss programs where I did nothing but protein shakes for a couple of months. I did weight loss with just vegan products. I did bulking with vegan products, and it's just way too expensive. It doesn't really matter the plan. You just need to stick to the plan and follow the calories because calories are what matter. And then everybody lies. If you're not losing weight and you're saying that you're doing everything 100% correct, that means you're lying. Either you're not tracking as well as you should. And today it's a hell of a lot easier because we've got apps on our phones that you can now take pictures of the plate of food and it will give you a pretty darn good estimate of protein, fats, carbs that you're going to be ingesting in that meal. There's still some variance, and there are some cases where it's like 30% off. I've seen some estimates. So again, you got to be careful. But if your health is important for longevity and a better quality of life as you get older, you need to get some self-control and you need to get some discipline to learn how to manage your weight. Exercise, have fun, do some cardio, and it will pay off in spades as you get older, and you'll be retired, and hopefully, barring any sickness, disease, or whatever, it'll help you live longer and have a better quality of life. So anyway, so that's it. And I kind of regulated myself to not doing a lot of stuff on fitness influencers these days because it just pisses me off because there's so many of them, and it's kind of just detrimental because we get caught up in the minutia. Or, well, this person said this and this person says this. If you lift weights, again, thumb placement doesn't really matter. Machines versus free weights, it doesn't really matter. Just do something. Going to the gym and, whether I lift and bench press like this or I'm at a 45 degree, I can bench like this and I don't have any problems with my shoulders. Other people do this and it hurts. Well, okay, then move your arms down to where it doesn't hurt. And all of these things of fitness influencers who are saying, here's how you build big muscles, do this, and they don't have big muscles, forget about them. Don't worry about them, But the majority of people, they don't want to get big like me, and that's absolutely fine. They just want to exercise, get the medical benefits from exercise and cardio, and have a longer and better life. 100% agree. I just go to the extreme in what I do. But like I said, calorie restriction for me, especially at the level that I'm at from 265 pounds and dropping 7 pounds in a week, is easy because I don't have to eat as much. It's hard to eat a lot of food. So I kind of like that to some degree. So I'm going to cut down a little bit and then I might bulk later on. But I found as I get older, I don't like eating as much food as I used to. So that comes into play as well. But you need to maintain protein. You need a certain amount of carbs and fats. And total abstinence is not a healthy thing by any means. Supplements, there's some supplements that are good. The majority of them you probably don't need. I would say creatine is probably a good supplement that I would add regardless. And, maybe some magnesium and, a multivitamin. Nothing huge. Don't waste your money on, vitamin supplements that you got to spend, $50, $75 or $100 a month or more. It's just really not going to make a difference. Doing the exercise, generally healthy meals, staying within your nutrition plan is what's going to pay off. So anyway, that's going to be it for today. I've rambled enough, over an hour, and that's it. So anyway, comment section down below. If you want to email me, that is also available. Like I said, I don't do any coaching anymore because I'm retired, but I can, basically what I put out in this video is what I tell people. As far as workout routines, now you have Chat GPT and AI programs that are pretty damn impressive when it comes to fitness routines and even nutrition plans. I used to do nutrition plans by hand and going over, calories and nutrition labels and whole 9 yards. It was a time-intensive thing. But as AI gets better, what I found is with AI programs, it can get to where it's about 97, 99% accurate in regards to doing a plan with AI saying, hey, generate a nutrition plan where I eat 2,300 calories a day, 40% carbs, 40% protein, 20% fats, or whatever, ratio that you want. Include these certain foods. I want to eat so many times per day. Don't have these foods because I'm allergic to this, or I don't like the taste of this. And give totals for each meal and a summary of each day. And it will actually pump out great nutrition plans. So, it makes it so much easier to actually lose weight or gain weight or whatever you want in regards to nutrition because we have these AI programs today. So yeah, there's that. It's just too easy. So have fun. Like and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that. If you got any information, you can also buy me a coffee. Check the description box. Not that guy, but these people here have bought me coffees, and I have really appreciated that. If you do, great. If not, that's cool too. Please just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please. That would be the biggest thing that I would appreciate. So we're going to leave you that. Today is Sunday here in Korea. It's about 9:30, and I'm hungry. So I'm going to eat my one protein bar just because I'm trying to cut a little bit of weight. But I'll have some other food later on, so don't worry about me. I'm good. All right, we'll see you. Peace.